Well, as the show continues on here today, we've got more great guests in studio talking about more important topics in Mason County. Ben Johnson and Abe Gardner are here. How you doing, guys?
Doing well.
Good.
Last week we had you on, Abe, with Jamie to talk about the walks that are going to be happening, the Overdose Awareness Walks at the end of the month in Shelton on the 31st and in Belfair on the 1st. This conversation is to talk a little bit more of an overview of all the things that you guys offer through the county services. We've talked about the LEAD program before and the Mason County Prevention Coalition, but for those who are just finding out about these services, let's kind of dive a little deeper into them. Let's talk first, Ben, about the Prevention Coalition.
Sure. Our Prevention Coalition has been going on here in the Shelton area for the last 7 years. We began the North Mason Coalition about 2 years ago, and that's been going pretty strong. Our goal now is to create a Mason County inclusive of all school districts and communities, and just starting talks with Merriam Knight School District, and hopefully we can get some input from them in our direction and our mission, and create some good programming within all the school districts.
You know, as you think about things, folks tend to think about the larger districts first and foremost, the Shelton districts, and some of the issues perhaps with students and prevention there. We've talked a lot over the years about different programs through the Shelton School District. What did you find? What similarities did you find in the other school districts that you're talking with North Mason, with the others?
They're actually very similar in a lot of ways. The communities are a little bit different, of course, but a lot of the goals are the same. Reducing the first use or delaying first use for all youth. Most long-term substance use issues, typically the young person has started using before 18. So if we can delay that, that's a huge help in reducing the odds that they're going to become, there's going to be a problem later. Yeah.
Is there studies, I'm sure there are studies, the differences between urban or kids who grow up in a city landscape versus kids who grow up in a rural landscape, and when those first uses may come about more?
There are studies, and actually we really go by, use the Healthy Youth Survey quite heavily in our communities. Both North Mason and the Shelton School District participate in that study because Merriam Knight is so small, and the numbers are so small. They don't participate in that. A lot of smaller schools in our state are that way. So we're really not getting those numbers, but I think we'll get an idea by doing key interviews, talking to superintendents and principals and the students themselves this coming year. I think we'll get a good idea of what's happening there.
And what are you trying to delay? I mean, what would be anything, smoking, drinking, any sort of
drinking,
drugs,
of course. Alcohol is the number one used substance.
Okay.
Vaping now is huge. Young people aren't smoking cigarettes as much, but they are vaping. Okay. I mean, the cigarette use has gone from 20-25% down to less than 10%, but vaping has gone up, and I'm talking about a 30-day use period.
Okay.
Vaping has gone up to like 30% across the board in our state.
Wow. And Abe, some of the things that you and I have talked about over the last few years is hoping that if we can keep these kids from using the substances early on, then they may not have to deal with you, like with the LEAD program.
Right.
So let's talk about that for a little bit.
Right, yeah, I'm the programs I work with are a little more downstream, and that would be the goal, to work ourselves out of a job.
Yeah.
Right. But currently our programs are going really well. Our law enforcement assisted diversion program, or the LEAD program, and our behavioral health navigator program. And we've been working on the navigator program for the last 6 months or so with the sheriff's office, and actually just this last week we opened up services to the Shelton Police Department.
Great.
And so I'm working with both agencies currently, and we're seeing a steady increase of referrals. And I believe you've had some conversations with our local law enforcement and know about some of the legislative changes.
Yeah.
And so the landscape has shifted and moved a bit, and a lot of us are have felt like we're scrambling a little bit to try and get in front of a lot of these new mandates and new laws and things. But again, I want to communicate, that I think a testament to our community is that we're trying to stay ahead of that pendulum swing and trying to implement programs and have kind of nimble programs that can move and shift and make sure that we're trying to set up our community and the folks that are needing these services, hopefully setting them up for success.
And if someone were to come into the health department or to come into the office and look for help, these are safe spaces, right?
Absolutely.
It's not like a sting, right?
Right,
If somebody's
right,
coming in
right.
and they are wanting help, you're not going to be like, oh, great, we got one, and we're going to,
Right.
You
Right.
are there to offer the assistance, right?
Absolutely, and I can attest to our local law enforcement agencies. I've been in the field with them and been involved in interactions. They want to help just as much as we do. They are looking for folks to refer to the programs. They would prefer to refer to the programs. They want to see people heal and be in recovery. And so the programs have really worked well. You want to make sure you've got a willing partner when you've got these programs going. And we definitely have willing partners all the way down from commission, city council, prosecuting attorney's office, public defender's office, our courts, our law enforcement leadership, all the way down. Everyone's a willing partner in these. And I think that's really a key to the success.
Well, you hear the voices, you see the faces of the folks who are working to help those who need help and get that assistance. So if you see them around town, they are friendly faces. They're not trying to do anything out of the ordinary here. They want you to get that help. So Ben Johnson, Abe Gardner, and again, we talked with Jamie last week about the walks that are coming up at the end of the month on the 31st and the 1st for more information. And you can always go to the county's website as well. Ben, Abe, thanks. Good to see you guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Jeff.
you.